Hello, welcome back to my construction zone. This is as I mentioned before in previous videos, where the potting shed is going to go. And arguably foolishly, yesterday I came out and I started probing at the ground, and it's quite muddy. We just had almost 4 inches of rain the other day. Can't remember exactly when. It was earlier in the week. Either way, followed on by several days of cloudy and cool weather, which means the ground didn't have a chance to evaporate a lot of that moisture. Thankfully, the sun is out today, which is absolutely wonderful. So I started probing at the ground, and the next thing I know, I'm digging holes. So how it goes. The ground here is awful. It's very thick loam, clay. There's very little topsoil. It's just absolutely horrible. But being saturated, it is softer to dig in, which is a little easier than the hard compacted ground. So I wound up digging basically all the footers where I'm going to place my bricks. I dug a trench down here in the middle so that any excess moisture, when we get super heavy rains, tropical storms, hurricanes, that moisture hopefully will go towards the trench or allow the moisture in the surrounding soil to dry out faster. Does that make any sense? It kind of makes sense in my squirrely little brain, but I'm not a engineer by any stretch of the means of the imagination. I still have some dirt to clear up there, and once I get my bricks set in place, start leveling, at that point, then I'll come back and cover this entire area with pea gravel. So that helps with a couple of things. One, I get rid of that pea gravel that I have over in between my house and the garage, and that, you guys know that horrible little space. If you don't know that horrible little space, go back, watch videos. Trust me, it's horrible. So I'm getting rid of that pea gravel by using it for underneath the bricks to help support the weight of the potting shed, and the whole surface area will be covered with pea gravel. And that's not even so much for aesthetics, it's just helped get rid of all that extra pea gravel. I'll probably start actual construction towards the end of October, maybe early November. I gotta see how things go over the next few weeks so far as various other projects I have going on and costs of things. And of course, Black Friday is going to be coming up, I think, what is that, late November after Thanksgiving. So that may also be a time where I do a lot of shopping for the potting shed, try to get things at the cheapest price possible. Again, we'll have to see how things go, but work has begun. So this is a good thing. I've also received windows for the potting shed. That's another good thing. Pretty happy about that. So things are in motion so far as the potting shed is concerned. I'm quite excited about that. Either way, this is not why you tuned in today. Sorry about that. I got off on a tangent. Today I'm going to be transplanting some Heuchera, one, maybe two. We'll have to see what kind of conditions they're in, or if one is even still there. It may be dead, but I'm going to be transplanting that, and some Dutch iris bulbs. So let's get on with that. Well, I just recorded an entire segment going in here, digging these up, and I didn't hit the record button. So I'll just go over what I dug up here. The first one is going to be Dolce spearmint coral bells, and what came out of the ground is very sad looking, but I'm hopeful, and I think that there still might be just enough viable root that it comes back next year. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic. Maybe this thing is toast, but I'm going to plant it and see what happens. The other Heuchera, coral bells, call it what you will, is plum pudding. Now this one, hopefully you guys can see, I've got some nice foliage up top. Now there was other roots, looked like that had all died off, and other top growth which had all died off. Thinking that maybe this spot right here just might be a little too damp for the coral bells. Maybe, not sure. But I've got top growth, I've got good roots on this little guy, and I'm gonna move them to a different location where maybe they'll be happier. Maybe. Let's go plant some stuff up now. I added some bagged compost to this space. If you guys remember, I started this area last year. This space is also in shade most of the day. It's not fully shaded, but it's partially shaded. And I'm taking a closer look now at that Dolce spearmint coral bell, and I think the roots are all dried and done. So yeah, the Dolce spearmint's not gonna, no, that's done. This one though, was this plum pudding I said? Yeah, plum pudding. So this one is good, and hopefully you guys can see, we got leaves on top. I got some good roots. So I'm just gonna tuck this guy right in here, put a little more compost down there. Hopefully here where the soil is drier, they will do better. I will come back. I might add a little bit of mulch. I have to see how much extra pine needles fall from the tree, but I want to make sure that they'll be fine for the winter. I'm in growing zone 8B. If you're not in the know, my ground here doesn't freeze, and according to the National Weather Service, this winter is supposed to be warmer than normal. I'm hopeful that they do well here. There's plenty of space for it to grow up. Let's go plant something else that I'm a little more optimistic will do better. This corner of the flower garden looks absolutely terrible. It is the end of the year. A lot of the plants, like these snapdragons here in front, are going over. On the opposite corner, I have a large clump of Apollo Dutch irises. I love the height. They come up in early spring. They're actually starting to sprout now. They're starting to push up their leaves. They put on a lovely display in early spring. The leaves stick around till early summer. The flowers themselves last for maybe 2 weeks and then they go over. It adds quite a bit of green foliage to a space, but then eventually they all go away. And then they come back year after year. They are perennial, at least for me down here in growing zone 8B, which is fantastic. And they multiply. In fact, the ones I'm planting today, I got from the rose garden. So I decided to go and start stealing some of those bulbs, move them to a different location to spread the wealth. And there's nothing going on here come the springtime in this little corner. I have a dahlia which won't come up until early summer. It looks absolutely terrible right now. The various storms and the winds have not done any favors. In fact, I see another flower that's flaking off. And the snapdragons here, which look absolutely terrible, and I'm not sure that they're going to come back next year. Theoretically, they should. If they've dropped seed, they should come back. But I don't know if these varieties are perennial. I'm just going to clean this up a bit just because I'm going to be planting in and amongst these. If they do come back, hopefully, as the Dutch irises are fading away, the snapdragons will be pushing up, theoretically, maybe, hopefully. Let me show you what I got here. This right here is a bulb that's sprouting. In fact, all of these Dutch Discovery bulbs are coming up. They're all starting to sprout. Generally, the rule of thumb is to plant twice the depth. So that's roughly 6 inches of the bulb. So I'm just going to start tucking these right in here. And these will be interdispersed. I'm not going to do one little clump, because if they survive and if they thrive, they will start propagating themselves. They put out baby bulblets, and the next thing you know, the whole space is just filled up with Dutch iris bulbs. So here's one that's really putting on the green. I thought the leaves started coming up late winter, early spring, like February, March, but maybe I was wrong, which is entirely possible. Either way, we're planting. This is what we're doing. I'll drop one right in here. And I will come back and I will water these when I'm done. I also forgot to water the Heuchera. I actually have a water can over there, so I'll have to go back and do that. And we are also supposed to, allegedly, maybe, possibly, be getting some more rain this weekend. I don't think it's going to be anything heavy. Okay, so now interdispersed throughout this whole area. Probably planted about a dozen at least. Hopefully, as I stated before, they all start coming up. They are, as you saw, they are putting out leaves already. But the question is will they survive the winter? Will they survive the transplanting that I just did? And will they all come up next spring? If they don't grow, it's no real loss because it didn't cost me anything. I took from what I already had, and there's still lots of Dutch irises over in the rose garden, and I'll probably be adding more Dutch irises to the rose garden at some point in the future. I have been adding them here to the flower garden because this is what we see a lot. We see the flower garden from the house. People coming by see the flower garden a lot, so I thought this might be a good location. I have them growing right over here. They are coming up on the other side of the walkway, and I'm pretty excited about that. So we'll see. We will see. So I did go back and water the coral bells there, Heuchera, whatever you want to call it. And I watered it in the Dutch iris. Hopefully the bulbs survive. Maybe all of them, some of them. Again, we're going to have to wait and see over the next few weeks/months. Hopefully they take and they start putting on growth. Being bulbs, there's stored energy within the bulb, which is nice, which I think will help. But before we get some of their cold temperatures, hopefully they have a chance to really root in. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post up a new video. And this way, hopefully it's something a little more interesting than today. I think I say that a lot, but I always feel like I'm not doing something as exciting or as elaborate as some other YouTubers. But this is what I got going on today. The garden is starting to wind down. I'm already starting to do cleanup. There's a lot of cleanup to do. That actually might be a next video showing you some of the cleanup I am doing here and around the garden. With all that being said, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.